Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here with your Flying Week and Weekend Ahead Outlook, brought to you exclusively by Fly Magazine in association with weatherschool.co.uk. Monday the 20th of April, still in lockdown of course, but it's still an opportunity to be learning more about the weather, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing this week on Wednesday, because I've got another of my free live webinars that are going to be taking place. Now, if you're on the weekend forecast list and you get your forecast on a Thursday or Friday in text format, you'll get an email from me very soon with a link where you can register to view the webinar via Zoom. Also, on the Weather School Facebook page, you'll see the same link there that you can register, but I'll be broadcasting the webinar live too on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/weatherschool. Now, if you go there now and subscribe to the channel, then you can click on notifications and you'll be notified as soon as we go live on Wednesday evening, so you can watch through YouTube as well. So it's completely free of charge. And what I'm going to do this week, in this week's forecast with me, is explain more about forms 214, 215 and how you can extract the maximum amount of information from them. So if you're going flying today, you can be sure that the weather that you see predicted in forms 214, 215 is going to be the weather that you see. I'll be giving you some hints and tips as to how to get that information out as well, because it can seem sometimes with 214, 215, it's a heap of jumbled numbers and figures, but there's a few shortcuts you can take to extract the maximum amount of information from form 215. So it'd be great to see you there from 7 p.m. on Wednesday the 22nd of April. Now, your questions have been coming in thick and fast as well here at Weather School, and I've got another one of those to answer for you in just a moment. But a reminder that Aviation Weather School Part 1 suspended until June, but email us now to be added onto the wait list, so that when we announce our new courses, then you'll be the first to know. I expect, looking at what the government is saying, you've got to be working on probably September, October before we can get going properly once again. So do send an email. Now, as well as that, if you've got any questions about weather, I'm trying to answer them here in every forecast. So send any questions about Met to questions@weatherschool.co.uk. And that's what David Stott did when he sent me a question last week and said, why is it that the isobars shown on charts are usually 4 millibar intervals apart? Well, it's probably just precedent, David, that really, in this country, we've always used 4 millibars as the standard distance between isobars. You'll notice that in parts of Europe, it'll be 5 millibars. And also in the States, actually, they use 5 millibars very often. And one of the key things that you need to look for when you're looking at charts initially is that isobar spacing, to see what those isobar spacings are. Because if they're 2 millibars, then it will look like it's windier than it actually is. If they're 5 millibars, it'll look like the winds are lighter than they actually are. So always important just to see what those isobar intervals are. Critically important always, just make sure on the chart that you're looking at that those intervals stay the same. I've seen a few websites where the intervals between the isobars are sometimes 1, sometimes 3, sometimes 5. So just check when you're looking at the charts that they are always at the uniform intervals apart. But the charts that you see here on our forecast are always going to be 4 millibars apart. So don't forget, send your questions if you've got anything like that, like David has asked, and great question there, David. Send your question to questions@weatherschool.co.uk and I'll try my very best to answer them for you. Okay, on with the forecast for this week, and a polar continental flow this week. Those of you who've been to Weather School will know what that is. It's an easterly. High pressure is centred up here. We've got low pressure down towards the south, and that easterly flow persists. But it looks like we've got reasonable flying conditions, if only we could go flying this afternoon. Tomorrow's looking pretty good as well. I think marginal down these eastern areas simply because we've got such a brisk easterly flow, but elsewhere it looks flyable. Decent flying conditions, some good spells of sunshine. Just interesting to note from this as well that winds on the southern edges of high pressure can often be stronger than you expect. So this is a classic situation with this easterly where that's occurring. Just something to note when we get back to flying. Watch those high pressures up towards the north, because then when we get those easterlies, they can be stronger than you expect. For Wednesday, still quite breezy. Look, the isobars still quite close together, but I think generally it is going to be a fair day once again, flyable for almost all if we could go flying. Thursday looks a decent day as well. The easterly wind has decreased on Thursday, so actually a good day, some sunny spells, and I'm afraid it would be verifiable again. And then for Friday, bit of a change taking place. Look, we've got a trough down here. Now, again, we talk about troughs at weather school, areas of showers. And notice here that there are some across the southeast, some for Wales and the southwest, some for southern and western parts of Ireland, but drier elsewhere. These areas just becoming marginal at times in the showers, but generally it looks fair. And I think for most of us, it is another flyable day. And then for Saturday, a few showers scattered around on Saturday. Again, some of these could be quite heavy. Those of you who are simmers, be interesting to put this weather into your simulation programs and just see what it's like flying this, because this will be scattered heavy showers. So stick in some cumulus or cumulonimbus with a base of 3,000 feet and a top perhaps 15 to 20,000 feet. Call it 5/8 and you won't be too far off what we'll be looking at on Saturday. Generally though, most areas are fair, but we could just get an odd heavier shower, which leads us into marginal conditions at times. And then hints of a change on Sunday with these fronts moving in from the west during the course of Sunday. They look as if they could be bringing with them some periods of rain, mostly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. A few showers across northern England, but most areas further south look as if they will be generally fair. So I'm afraid to say it looks like it would be another flyable week. However, we can take advantage of this and we can learn more about NES, and I can get more information across to you. And it was great to see so many of you on the webinar a couple of weeks ago. Do you know, on that webinar, now this is free of charge, but what I've said at the webinars is if you feel able, and I know at the moment it's really difficult for many people to do it, but if you feel able, we're collecting for the Big Issue. So we've got a fundraiser going on at the moment for Big Issue sellers, because they can't sell their magazines on the streets anymore. So they're getting direct handouts from the Big Issue Foundation. So we're raising money at the moment for the Big Issue Foundation. And the amazing thing is that during my free webinars, this is what we've raised so far, over £1,000 from pilots. So thank you so much. If you can donate, that would be superb. And I'll put the web address on here. It's justgiving.com/fundraising/weather school webinar. It would be superb if you could see your way to make a donation, but I absolutely understand that at the moment it's very difficult for many people. So don't feel obliged that you've got to donate. You haven't. So do join me Wednesday the 22nd at 7 p.m. for Forecast with me, and we'll have a bit of fun with forms 214 and 215. Yes, they can be fun. Okay, thanks again for watching. Keep the sun shining, and bye for now.